Okay, let's assume these are the documents that we have received from the other side without any load file. So we have to create a load file in order to upload these documents into the review platform. We are going to achieve this in 3 steps. Step 1, we are going to create a directory listing to get the full file paths using the command line in Windows. Then we would use regex pattern search and replace to create 2-column load file in a text editor. Step 3, we would be saving this as a CSV file, and this will be the load file for our native upload. So let's start with the step 1, which is create directory listing to get the full file paths using the command line. Open up the command line by either clicking Windows plus R. A run prompt should appear. Once you have the run prompt, you can type cmd to enter into the command line. Once you are in the command line, just make sure you are in the drive where you have the files. So for example, the files here in my computer, they are in C drive. So even in the command drive, I'm in C drive. So if I'm not in C drive, I would have or I should do something like this. The letter of the drive, click on colon, enter, and that's how you enter into the drive where the documents reside. So once you are in the drive where the documents reside, you have to change the directory to the exact location where the files reside. So you need to copy the directory path where these documents reside and change to the directory. In order to change the directory, you have to give cd change directory space, paste the directory. So first we would like to only get the directory listing. Okay, it should be a / which is directory / b. So that should have been a / /b /s, and then you can save the output in list.txt, enter, and there you go. You see the list.txt file has been created. I'm going to open this list file, and this should look something like this. And this did get the directory listing of all the documents that are available in this folder, including the list.txt file. So for our load file purpose, we don't need this last entry, so I'm going to delete that. So that would give us 7 entries only. So as we discussed before, we want to create a load file which contains 2 columns. One is the document ID and the second is the file path. We do have the second column, which is the file path here for all the documents. Now all we have to create here is the document ID. And even that information is right there in the file path info. All we have to do is somehow extract that specific information only and create as a separate column. So how can we do that? How can we extract this information only and ignore the rest? Fortunately, we can do this using regex. If you haven't used regex before, don't worry about it. I'll try my level best to explain each component at a time, but I'm not going to teach you regex or basics of regex here. I'm gonna cover regex so that you understand how to do this specific operation. But if you really want to learn regex basics, this video wouldn't cover that. I'll see if I can make a separate video later. But in this video, we are just gonna focus on the regex functionalities that we would be using for this purpose only, which is extracting the document ID from the file path and then creating a separate column within this document. Let's learn how to search for a pattern using regex. The pattern we want to search here is a document ID. So before we can apply regex, we should first figure out what is the pattern to identify a document ID. Once we know the pattern, we can use regex to search for that pattern. If I have to search for document ID, in other words, all the occurrences of the document ID in this specific file, how can I find that? How do I define what is the start and what is the end? First, we need to figure out what is the position of the document ID that occurs in every single line. And that position should be consistent and constant, especially the starting and the ending positions. In other words, the start of a document ID and the end position of the document ID should have consistent pattern throughout. If there is no consistency, then one single pattern may not be sufficient for us to identify all the occurrences and all the variations of a document ID. At least for this one, we'll try to keep it as generic as possible so that we can capture any variations that document ID can have. So now just let's focus on what we see right here in front of us and see how can we determine the starting position of the document ID and the ending position of the document ID. The document ID is in between a backslash and the dot, and this is pretty consistent. Before the document ID starts, I see a backslash, and after the document ID ends, I see a dot. Same here, and it is same for all the 7 occurrences of the document ID in this document. Okay, now let's try to find this or search for this pattern using regex. By default, the search mode would be normal. Please make sure you switch from normal mode to regular expression mode. I have consciously choose the find tab with Control F. We are not in the replace tab. If you have observed, we are still in the find tab. And we have switched the search mode to regular expression. We know that the starting character that we should be looking for is backslash. And if I try to find for backslash and click on find next, you could see there is an error popped up at the bottom saying that invalid regular expression. It's because backslash is a reserved character for regex querying. In other words, you cannot search for backslash because in regex engine it is marked as a query character, not a searchable character. So in order to make backslash a searchable character, we have to add an escape character so that you can convert that to a searchable character. Interestingly, the escape character for regex to change any character to a searchable character is backslash again. So backslash followed by backslash makes our backslash and searchable character. Okay, this can be a bit confusing. Let's take another example. Let's say I want to search for a dot and say find next. As you can see, dot in regex is used to represent any character. So that's the reason whenever I click on find next, it would simply switch to the next available character, and it simply goes on because dot represents any character. Now if I want to change this dot from a query character to a searchable character, all I have to put here is backslash. And when I put backslash, this dot now would be treated as a searchable character. Now if I search for dot after I have put a backslash at the beginning, now this would exactly go to the last dot that is available here, the next dot, the next dot. So I hope now you got it. Because now we are searching for, our requirement is to search for backslash. Because backslash is a reserved character, I'm unable to search it. So in order to make it a searchable character, I have given a backslash, which is the escape character. So now when I search for backslash here, now it's a searchable character. I'm able to search on backslash. But there is an issue here. Backslash is everywhere. I can't just pick this specific backslash, or there is no easy way for me to tell to the engine that pick this specific backslash only, not the rest. Of course we can do it, but it would be a very big query. I want to keep it as simple as possible, as generic as possible. So for that reason, instead of just taking backslash, which is not unique anymore, I'm gonna pick another unique pattern that is pretty much repetitive for every line, and I'll see if that can create a unique occurrence. Because when I'm searching for backslash in one single line, there is more than one occurrence. We have only 7 document IDs here per line. Per line there is 1 document ID. So I should pick up an starting pattern which is only true once per line, and that should easily identify the start of the document ID. So for that reason, what I'm going to do, instead of taking just backslash, I'm going to add documents backslash. And when I do this, they should give me, obviously there's a classic typo. Let me retype that, documents. So when I search for documents slash, now here it should give me 7 occurrences, 1 occurrence per line. So this should work for me. This should definitely work. So I can lock our starting point of the document ID, which is document slash. We are good there. The next thing is I have to pick everything that's there after the document slash until the dot, because we have marked dot as our end point and document slash as our start point. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say starting from document slash anything. So as I said, you can search for any character using dot represents any character, and then I would say any character for any length. Any length can be represented by a plus symbol. So this means this would search for any character till any length. Dot is representing any character and plus is representing until any length. When I do that, as you can see, this is taking the entire string starting from document slash to the end of the line. But I want to stop whenever I find a dot. For that, this is what I'm going to do. Provide an end character. So here the end character is dot, but if I give dot, it would again not literally take it as a searchable character. But as I told you before, if you want to make dot as a searchable character, you have to give an escape character in front of it, that is the backslash. So now let's see what happens now. It has stopped exactly at the dot there. We have successfully identified a pattern which would find occurrences of document ID in each and every line. That's all great. But our requirement is not that. Our requirement is to only get this document ID from each line and create an extra column with that document ID. Okay, I have to be very honest with you. Though it seems like one single recording, for me to explain this part, that is to isolate document ID only, this is my 25th try. I might succeed or I might take another 25 takes to explain this. But I hope this would be my last try. Uh, I'm telling you this because it may not be easy and you may not get it in the first go. If you haven't got it, please do rewind this part. Sorry, I'm struggling to explain this part. That's the reason I want to give you a caveat here. I hope this is my last take. Let's see how it goes. So, right now, we have successfully identified the string starting from documents until the dot. But what I'm trying to do is somehow just only select the document ID, not this entire thing. In order to do that, we have a very good feature in Regex which is called grouping. So you can group and isolate a part of the search pattern by simply adding brackets to that specific pattern. In that way, you can group and isolate. So the part I want to isolate is anything that's there after the document backslash until the dot. So this is the part I want to group. Why we want to do this? Because whenever I group something, in Regex, I have an option to choose that group and use it somewhere else or use it for replacing that string somewhere else. So I'll show you. It's a cool trick. So internally, whenever you have added brackets within your search string, Regex would label them as, okay, he marked brackets here. I'm going to call it as group 1. If it sees another bracket, it will say this is group 2. If it sees another string enclosed in a bracket, it would say group 3, and it goes on. In this case, there is only one open and one closed brackets. That means one group. So internally, there is only one group. So for me to access that group, all I have to do is say \1. So what this does is it would simply replace this entire thing, this entire string that matches that pattern with the group you have identified here. Let me show you quickly. So when I say replace, you see that entire thing starting from document slash until dot was literally replaced with the document ID. Let me show you that again. See, this is the entire thing. Let me first show you this. I'll ask it to first find the pattern. I'll put the cursor somewhere here. I'll ask it to first find the pattern. It did find that pattern. That entire pattern that it was able to find, it would be replaced with the group, the first group, the group that I have isolated there. So the group that I have isolated is literally the document ID. So that entire thing would be replaced with the document ID that I have isolated it as a group. I can do this and go on, but let me see. So this is cool, right? I'm going to make a small tweak there and show you how easy it is to further do the replace. So instead of selecting this part and replacing that entire thing with document ID, I would like to select the entire string here and then replace that with the document ID. In order to do that, all I have to do is extend and select everything that's before documents. So that would be any character for any length before documents. Similarly, any character, any length after dot. When I do this and click on find, it did select the entire string. Find. So all I'm gonna do now is select this entire string and replace that with the group, that is the document ID that I have isolated there. So when I click on replace, the entire first line would be replaced with just the document ID. When I say the same things again, I can simply press on replace all. That's it, single go. So all the lines, we have identified them and were replaced with just document ID. Okay. Now let's make this more complex, because our ultimate goal here is not to just extract the document ID from the file path. We have done that. I showed you how to do it. But our ultimate aim is to extract that and create it as a separate column. That means I still want to keep this entire file path. In addition to this, I would like to add one more column with the document ID. So using the same principle, using everything we have learned so far, we are gonna achieve it, but it's gonna be little bit complicated here. So you may want to pay a little bit more attention. If you did get how to isolate and group the pattern, and then how to replace that specific isolated group, if you have got that bit right, then what I'm going to show now is going to make sense to you. If you haven't got it right, please feel free to go back, rewind it, and come back here. If you have got it, you're going to enjoy this part better. I hope so. Okay, vision would be something like this. Document ID would be here. There'll be a tab and there'll be a file path. So my end result should look something like this, and I want to achieve this with a single find and replace query. You're still going to use the same pattern, but it's going to be a little bit trickier here. I'm going to break our string, our file path, into 3 groups. Okay, I have successfully isolated document ID. That's all good. Next, what I'm gonna isolate is the file extension part. So I will isolate the file extension. So anything that's there, that is there after dot, or I can even do this. I can isolate anything that's starting from dot till the end as one group, and then anything that's there starting from the backslash until the start of document as another group. So we have 3 groups here. Group 1 is everything that's here. Group 2 is the document ID. Group 3 is the file extension. It's as simple as I have to isolate document ID first. Once I have isolated the document ID, I have to simply split the rest of the things into 2 different groups, because what's there after document ID I have to put it into one group, and what's there before document ID I have to put it into another group. That's the reason I have to create 3 groups for my isolation. So once I have isolated them, from regex point of view, there are 3 groups, but remember, the numbering of the groups goes from left side of the query to the right side. So that means the first group is the path from starting to this. The second group is our document ID, and the third group is this. Okay. Gonna first put our document ID, which is /2, and then I'm going to give /tab. That means document ID will be followed by a tab, and then I'm gonna put all three groups after that. So that would be our group 1, our group 2, our group 3 in the same order. So when I do that, real magic starts here. So let's find what it's gonna find. This is what it's gonna find. It still is going to find the entire line, but we have internally grouped them into different parts. That entire line would be replaced with whatever I have provided here. When I click on replace, first what you're going to see is the group 2, which is our document ID, followed by a tab, followed by all three all put together. That means I have put all three together just to represent our file path, and the second path only represents the document ID. That's the reason why I have to group and isolate them. Okay. Now, did you see that? See that? And or I can simply go for replace all, and that's what happens. So this is how we can create or transform a simple directory listing which contains all file paths to a load file which has document ID followed by the file path. All you have to do is save this as load file dot csv, and we can save this right there, load file dot csv. Either I can save this as .csv file, or simply select this, open an Excel, paste it here. Now you nicely got two columns. I can say this as my document ID, this one as my file path, and I can save this as a nice UTF-8 CSV file. Now the load file will be ready. And there you go. Now I have a load file which I have created using a simple regex query. Now let me show you how this query can be universally be applied to any document ID. Create few variations on this document ID. So instead of the same pattern doc underscore nat, I'm going to just say doc hyphen k hyphen nat for one. Here I'm going to give doc dot here I'm going to give I have given enough variations here. I haven't changed the formula, it's the same pattern. I have kept everything as is, and when I click on replace all, it very nicely still identifies all those patterns as document IDs, and you have one with document ID and other with the file. This is pretty much universal. So I'm gonna drop this patterns, regex patterns, in the video description below. I hope it all made sense. Again, just to reiterate, all we have done is just in 3 steps. Step 1, we have created a directory listing. Open the list. Once you have the list available with file paths only, you then use this formula in find what and use this formula in replace, And once you have it, click on replace all. There you go. It's so simple. It takes you less than 2 minutes, 1 minute to get the directory listing, and literally 1 second to do that find and replace. Thanks to my colleague Arun Yamsani, who showed me this trick 10, 11 years ago. And thank you, mate, for not making me stay late, not just for that one specific day. There were many days where this simple tip really helped me in last 10 years. I would say 100 times more than that. So, yep, one single tip can be a lifesaver for rest of our lives. On a long day at work, even a simple tip like this can help you log off sooner and spend some more quality time with your friends and family. Knowledge shared is knowledge gained. Let's help each other out. Do you have a tip that you would like to share with the eDiscovery community? Please send me your tips at files@ediscovery@gmail.com. You may find the email address in the video description below and also the link to the Excel spreadsheet. See you again very soon. Please take care and enjoy the life. Signing off, yours truly,